And I am live everywhere. And I am live everywhere. So, as people are joining, well, hello, happy Monday. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I hope everybody had an amazing rest. So, I was for sure busy this weekend. I was working on my mini course that I published, and the links are everywhere. Well, my link is one link is everywhere. So, like, if you follow me on LinkedIn, so you will be able to see it there. If you follow me on Instagram, I it is in my bio. If you are friends with me on Facebook, it is also in my bio. It's a free course, so it's kind of like free sample course stuff like that. So that was my weekend. That was not like that was my pretty much weekend. This is what I was doing uh, this weekend. And of course, like if you know, like I live in Chicago, so and sometimes our streets are busy, and like, I live on a busy street. So and if you hear sirens, it's pretty normal. So like I guess like when you live in the city, there's no like a perfect way or a perfect time to do like live stream. So all right, uh, so basically, what I want to talk to you about is two ways to transition from QA to iOS development. And I kind of also want to talk to you about career growth mindset. Career growth mindset. Because in the previous live stream, we were talking about why would you like about your motivation. I was asking you question like why do you want to transition. If you want to transition, what is important, know your why, and why it is important to have the right motivation to pivot to another specialty. Today I'm going to ask you question, or like I'm going to present you better question about your growth. So, or like work with the question, why should I? Because like a lot of the times when I talk about career transition, I'm talking about career growth. I'm talking about switching specialty, or like the I transition to iOS development. A lot of the times, a lot of my former colleagues or other QA engineers, they would ask me like, why should I do that, or why should you do that, or why did you do it? So like, what is your why? So I'm making good money and I am comfortable where I'm at, and like, why should I do that? And I think the main reason why you should do that is is basically your mindset, your growth mindset. Because um, here's the thing: a lot of people will ask me questions like, "Okay, if I transition to iOS development, would I work more? Would I have more work? Would I have like how's going to be my work life balance? Like, am I going to work a lot, or am I going to work on a lot of features? Like, because like I don't want to work more. I'm fine where I'm at right now." And the question is, it's not really about working more or working less, because even as an iOS developer, you can have work life balance. Like, I'm a senior iOS developer, okay, and I can't say that. I don't know. Do I work more in comparison to test automation engineer, in comparison to I like a senior as that? No, and yes at the same time. No, because look, as a test automation engineer, oftentimes if you don't have like a like big test automation engineer team, then you have like probably like three, four, six developers that contributing to the mobile application, right? Like at the same time for different features. And it's just you to implement test automation for all of those features, to implement those test automations for every like developer that you're working with, or you have to test their features after they're done. So like in a lot of companies, after the development is done, like that ticket, that piece of work will move to QA column, where a QA engineer basically will go ahead and test it and make sure that everything works okay. Or like it will move to test automation column to get test automation, or like will it might move out of main board from feature development to like QA board to implement test automation after it was done, after the test was done manually. So it really depends, like it really depends on the company. It really depends on every situation. But as a iOS developer, I have my feature, I have my focused laser focus features that I'm working on a group or a set of features, and I don't have to implement all of the feature. I'm implementing the work dedicated to a specific part of the app. So in this aspect, I'm working less than test automation engineer, because test automation engineer has, like, when I was doing test automation, I had to automate like everything, and oftentimes like I didn't have enough time to automate everything. So like yes, I work more. And also we have releases. Like every release I would have to test, I would have to run smoke tests, I would have to run regression tests, and I would have to make sure that like I sign off of the app for the app. And I would have really strict deadlines. So I would have, sometimes I would have like 2 days, one day, whatever, like few hours to run my to run my regression test. And like yes, I work more. But the thing is when, like, if you are in tech with the mindset that I don't want to work more, I don't want more responsibility. It might be the issue that you have with your career mindset in general. You don't have that growth mindset. And the growth mindset is not to work more, is to work on more challenging work, is work on more challenging features, and is to do more, is to develop yourself professionally and better yourself professionally. So because if you just want to settle and do less, or if you want to settle and don't do anything, then like in in the long run it's going to be really hard for you to stay in tech career period. So if you think, oh, like if I am an iOS developer, I will work more, I don't want to work more, I just want to stay where I'm at. But guess what, QA industry is also developing. So like you can't stay where you're at and basically stay at the same place and like at the same comfort zone forever, because at some point, like, look, Selenium WebDriver and other test automation frameworks, at some point it's not going to be cute anymore. At some point there will be new tools. At some point there will be new frameworks. At some point there will be new things that you have to implement in your work. So this is why growth mindset is important. And the more skills you have, the more knowledge than you have, it's really important. Calvin said quality over quantity. Yeah. And Paul, hey Paul. So hey Paula. So yeah, basically it's really it's really important to have that growth mindset, because you can't just like you if the reason for you not learning new framework, not learning new programming language, not thinking about doing more with your work because you just don't want to, work more, this is kind of wrong mindset. Because again, with the great power will come great responsibility, or greater responsibility. So the more you know, the more experienced you are, like you just gotta have more responsibility. Will it jeopardize your work-life balance? Not necessarily. The more, like, it's just you're more skilled, you're more responsible, you are more experienced. In fact, the more experience you have, you can actually lead other people how to do the work. So you don't necessarily have to do everything by yourself. Like, you, at some point when you develop your skills, you can delegate those skills to other people. So if you're thinking like, okay, if I transition to iOS development from QA, like I would have to do more. I would have to have more responsibility, and like I'm not really about that. You really want to rethink if you want to be in tech career in general, because if you don't have growth mindset in tech career, at some point you will become irrelevant. So like I know like you probably don't want to hear that, but this is the truth. Like and it is true for iOS developers, and it is true for web developers, and it's true for everybody. Because look, in my profession, in my specialty, at some point, like old framework will go away, or there will be preference for new framework. For example, what we're seeing with Swift UI and UI kit is relevant. And if you know UI kit really well, but you are a little bit behind with Swift UI, or you don't know Swift UI, period, moving forward, it might be actually kind of hard. And it might be actually kind of hard. Such an interesting topic. I started as a video game developer, but started working as a QA. I'm doing automation right now, but I feel stuck, and I wanted to be developer. Yes, like yeah, and this is exactly how I felt. Like this is exactly how I felt. I was a senior. I was a senior as that, and I was working with iOS. And like at some point, I felt stuck, and not stuck at my job because I like my job, I like my career, but I felt stuck at the career in general. Because when I was thinking what is next after my job, so it's either going back to do Selenium WebDriver and do like general test automation with other frameworks. And actually, I did, and I did not enjoy it because, like, again, it was so limiting. And another thing about QA, and test automation, people are trying to put you in the box, like in this, like that you QA, that you can do more. So, and when you try to do more, like you start experiencing more and more, um, like obstacles and rejections. So, and this is why I really wanted to talk to you about how to transition to like from QA to iOS development. Because for me, listen, when I transitioned from QA to iOS development, there are so many career opportunities open up for me that I never had access to before. And it's because of my skill set. Like my skill set elevated, and I had more access to like better jobs, higher paying jobs, and more opportunities in terms of startups. For example, if you are into startup space, and if you really like enjoy that kind of life, and some of the startups, they have really good funding, and they here recently they were willing to pay really high dollar. And as a QA, I would have never gotten those opportunities because they were not ready. And I have a video on my channel when I talk about specialties that create software and specialties that support software. QA engineer and test automation engineer pretty much supporting supporting specialty. They support existing software. They don't create new software. And this is why at certain stages in software development, they just not need it. Because at the beginning stages, or like when the resources limited, people need to create software, and they need specialties to create software. Okay, so let's jump into our topic: how to transition from QA to iOS development. So we talk about growth mindset. It's really important to have growth mindset, and actually, like when you think about that, like I don't want to transition because I don't I'm going to do more. Like and like this is not the right mindset that you want to have. But let's jump to actual steps, like how you can actually transition to iOS development. So there are two ways. Like one way is kind of gradual way. Like first, like learn Swift, and learn XCUI test. And after you gain that knowledge, and XUI test is not really difficult to learn, and Swift programming language like every programming language is kind of like challenging, right? It's not like it is possible to learn, but like Swift in comparison to Java and other programming languages is it's a fairly easy language to learn. So learn Swift, learn XUI test, and start looking for jobs related to test automation and in iOS and in XUI test. And this step is really important. You want to look for jobs related to test related to test automation in native framework in XCUI test. You don't want Appium, you don't want DTAX, you don't want anything third party and not native test automation for mobile, because this is very important step. When you work in the same code base with your developers, you start getting familiar with Swift programming language, with code base, with like working together with other developers. So this is really important. So, and after you working with other developers and start and developing test automation for iOS, right, with XUI test, you learn iOS development on the side, right? So, and when you get a little bit more comfortable with iOS development, you talk to your manager and say, hey, I would like to grow more. I would like to do more. I would like to do iOS development. How can we make it happen? And after that, two things may happen. Either your manager gets really excited and they say, hey, yes, you can transition, like, yeah, yes, you can do iOS development. So, like, you can start working on small features, fixing bugs, and like explore the app more and start contributing to production level code. That is perfectly okay. The other scenario, when like if your organization is not as growth oriented, they can say, hey, no, you are not, like, you won't be able to contribute to production level code because you're not iOS developer. So um, you can do that. So like if the second scenario happens, this is not the company that you want to be at. You want to be at the company that encourages your growth. So like employer can fire you, but you can also fire your employer. So if your employer is not interested in your growth, and if you offer to do more, if you're asking for more responsibility, if you're asking for that growth, and you're ready for that growth, but they're refusing to give you that growth, then it's not the company. Like personally, it's not the company I want to be at. I want to be at the company that respects my growth and encourages me to learn more. So one scenario, they say yes, you can contribute, and you start contributing in by fixing. So like the way I started fixing bugs. I started implementing like small features. And later on, I get ownership over not such high priority features, so I can have a little bit more time developing. And like I was kind of developing ahead of time, so for the features that were not as important, but the product wanted to implement it. So I was working on the features that nobody had time to work on. So it was, and that was a lot of fun as well. So, and as you're working on those features, as you're proving yourself to your team and to your manager, at some point you want to have a conversation. Can we change the title? Because what you care about is to demonstrate your future employers that you have the necessary skill set, that you can do that thing, that you can do iOS development. So at some point when you contributing to the code base, contributing by implementing new features, you want to have a conversation with your manager and say, hey, can we change my title? And your title can be different. Your title can be like iOS engineer, or I'm sorry, not iOS engineer, QA engineer, QA tester, SDET seniors, that what have you. So can we change my title to iOS developer? And then the conversation may go into separate ways. Like one way can go like, yes, we can. You're already contributing, like everything is fine. The second route, it can be a little bit tricky if it's like if they have very strict titles, like junior, senior, mid-level. So they might ask you what level you want to perform, and then it's up to you. Like it depends where you at with your career. So and it depends how much money you're willing to put on the table or leave on the table temporarily. So like I personally, I didn't want to leave any money on the table. I said like, hey, I'm a senior as that, and I know like your mid-level developer makes approximately the same amount of money that I make, maybe more. So, like, how about that? Like, you give me mid-level developer title because I am not a junior level, simply because junior doesn't know all those skill set and all those experiences that I do. Junior developer doesn't know how to implement UI tests. Junior developer doesn't know software development lifecycle as well as I do. Junior developer doesn't know how to work with its team. Junior developer doesn't know how to estimate his or her effort. Junior developer doesn't know a lot of stuff that I learned throughout my at that point 6 or 7 years in tech. So and I was writing code, I was writing test automation, and then and that's another thing. And like, hey, I was contributing to your code base for a while, and it's not like I just came to the team and I just what I just like snuck in as a senior SDET and I won iOS developer title. This is not what happened. You know my code, you know my work ethic, you know my skill set, and this is not junior. And at that point, again, like this is up to you to decide. Some of the iOS develop, some of the SDETs decide to go for junior developer because they want to be as comfortable as possible with a new specialty, and that's totally fine. So you can get your junior iOS developer role just like that and keep growing. And like if you decide to go that route, if you decide to take junior iOS developer role, just know it's not forever. So that you will grow, and like you at your next company with your experience you can probably land a mid-level job for sure. So really that transition for you is just like it is a transaction. Another way you can go about it, if they don't want to give you the title. So like that was a little wrinkle for me. So I wanted to be on mid level, and it was like a little bit of a problem for my company at a time. So I started looking for an iOS developer position elsewhere. But before confidently look for an iOS developer position elsewhere, I needed to have projects, right? I needed to have one project, because one project, like one place of employment where I was doing iOS development for like a year and a half, like it didn't do for the job market. So I didn't get as many responses, I didn't get as many calls, and I got a lot of like I kind of got a lot of rejections from recruiters. So what I decided to do, I decided to work with startups and small companies, offering them my help. And I worked with a company that needed a mobile application, like for testing, and I started delivering mobile applications for them for testing purposes, and that worked out perfectly. So and at the time I was working, I was talking to many other companies, I was talking to many businesses, but like again it was a little bit tricky. So and I think this is the biggest challenge that you might have to overcome anyway. This is your project. How do you prove your work? How do you prove your work? So, and to prove your work, you need to have connections with small businesses, and this is your way in. And like those small businesses can actually vouch for you and say, yes, like he or she or they, like whoever that person was doing the work for me for my business. They implemented the app, and like you can work with those people on like on your potentially references and so and put them on your resume as your real work experience. So that part is really crucial. So if I didn't have that part nailed down, then my transition would be really really tough. So this is one way, like, so you can if you are not an if you are not an SDET, or if you're not QA who works with iOS application. So like you want to go to like you might want to go like gradual route. So land your iOS as that role first to work on XUI test and work on test automation with native frame like with the native framework with test with XUI test first, and then transition to iOS development. This is first route. Another route Another route is you can jump from QA to iOS dev. So and the difference, like there's like the difference is very little, except for as a direct transition from QA to iOS dev. You learn iOS development by yourself. So you skip the portion when you start learning with XUI test. You start learning with the basics. So you start learning iOS development itself, because XUI test and iOS development, they're not the same thing. They're two different things. So it's good to know as an iOS developer. It's good to know UI testing for sure. But like if you're interested in developing mobile applications, start learning either like Swift UI or um, UI Kit, one of those frameworks. So like start picking up courses online. They're free courses, they're paid courses. I had them all. Like I paid for my courses, and I decided not to go to a boot camp because there was not a boot camp equivalent to my level, equivalent to my experience. So this is why I didn't go to a boot camp. That boot camp could not satisfy my needs necessarily. So, and again, like as you're learning iOS development, like working as a QA, right? Again, you will have the same challenge. You will have the same challenge when you put when you're ready to go and look for a job, when you are mature enough with your skill set, like you want to go and look for a job as a iOS developer. Again, you need provable results. You need to have that work experience, that job experience on your resume. So, and this is where you want to like find either freelance work, or you want to find other opportunities how to get that experience. So with that being said, if you didn't know, I have a program dedicated for QA engineers. You don't have to be a QA engineer to enroll in this program, but basically, what this program does, it helps QA professionals and other professionals who would like to transition to iOS development to learn practical applications. So, what I do on my program, I'm partnering with two businesses. Uh, One business has existing mobile apps in the app store, and another business, it's wellness business, they would like to build a mobile app for meditation. So and the owner of that business, of wellness business, they're actually a QA engineer. So and they're doing wellness business on the side because they're into it, and they like that person knows how hard it can be in tech, and she's more than willing to help out with, like, first of all, allowing you to work on her app, right, and contributing to her app, so she could give you like decent references for your work that you contributed. So it's really it's huge. Another business is a small agency with like that do mobile apps. So they have their showcase app that they would like to advertise to restaurants and add more functionality to it. And they also work on my app. So I'm going to have an app here soon on App Store. So I really hope to deploy my app, like that they will go deploy my app here soon, like this week, hopefully, or like maybe early next week. So, but I also have features that I would like to um, be developed for my app and add more features to my app. So you might actually work for my app, and like I'm a business owner, so like I can listen, like if you do a good job, so like why not? And but that company, that agency, like they will give you like they will give you references for both apps. So um, they will give you reference for the work for both apps that you work for their showcase app and for my app that like that you work on. Basically, out of this program, you're gonna have to like two projects, maybe three projects, three mobile apps that you're gonna work on by yourself, and also like, you have two one-on-one calls with me every week, where we talk about very important topics related to iOS. But we're not just gonna talk about the topics, right? Like by themselves. We're gonna talk about practical applications, how those topics related to your app. Because look, um, one thing that I understand, or like that I'm facing, if I just listen about like certain like new concept with iOS development, right, or a new framework, if I hear about the theory about iOS development, but I don't apply it practically, I won't remember it. So this is why it is important, like to go through the curriculum based on your app and not based on the book. So we're not going to learn by the book. We're going to learn by your application that you're actively developing, and I'm going to guide you in your future development to cover those topics. So for the description of this live stream, there's a link. If you sign up for free sample mini course iOS accelerator program, you're gonna see the apps that we're gonna work on. You're gonna see like two lessons. So there are three lessons right now, but I'm hoping to add a little bit more to it. So, and one of the lessons is reusable components. So when you pick up the like in if you see the curriculum, the first topic that we're going to use and talk about is reusable UI components with mobile application with iOS development. So when you pick up your first feature, I'm going to work with you how to create those reusable components for your feature that you're actively working. So I'm not just going to say like you can watch that video and I'm providing your example, but it's not how your one-on-one is going to work. I'm going to pick up your work. I'm going to pick up your code and say, hey, look, this could be reusable component. This could be like reusable UI component on stuff like that. And then like another topic is accessibility. Again, I'm picking up your code and say, hey, let's make your code accessible. So let's implement dynamic font. Let's implement like better voiceover. And I'm going to guide you how to use voiceover and how to test voiceover as well. So, and this is the premise of that program. So very practical. And this program is 6 months. So basically gives you plenty of time to like ramp up with your feature development, get familiar with the code, and contribute like features, small features, large features. It depends how fast you move through your feature development. So, like, if you're interested in that course, right? Like, sign up for my course. B, uh, click to schedule an appointment with me. If you want to learn more, click to schedule an appointment with me. And it's free again, like it's 30-minute an appointment, and it's 30-minute appointment with me online. And I'm gonna talk to you about your background, and you're gonna learn more about the program, and you're going to decide if it is right choice for you or not. So in the 6 months, it is individual, it's exclusive individual program where you work with me one-on-one, and I'm guiding you one-on-one how to develop mobile apps, and you are working on real apps. And at the end or during um, the program, if you're like, for example, you are in the program and you decided to look for iOS developer job like at the same time and see, like, let's say after a month, like 2 or 3, you feel more confident, like, hey, like, I get it, I think I can do it, like, I think I'm good. So first of all, you let me know, and I will prep you for the interview with as an iOS developer, and we're going to work on your resume and stuff like that. And we're going to start working on your resume early, so probably from like after the second month, we're gonna have a sit down session when we gonna update your LinkedIn profile, update your resume, so like you are circulating there, like in the internet, like on LinkedIn and other websites, so people know about you. So at the end, when you graduate and when you're ready to go in the job market, you get like everything is available for you and you're ready. So, but let's say you have a like job interview as an iOS developer, and like you need those references. They will be available to you because you are actively contributing to the projects, and we respect that. And even if not everything is perfect, then I understand, like as a as like with any new code base, with any new specialty, like you might make mistakes, but hey, like you're contributing, so what, like you're gonna have references, and you're gonna have interview preparation as well. So that's the premise of the program, and go check it out. Go see like that mini course. There are 3 lessons. See if you like it. See if the curriculum is like is this is what you're looking for. This is 6 months commitment, and if everything looks good, schedule an appointment with me. So, do you have any questions? So right now, I would like to open the floor for Q&A. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, please let me know in the chat. So I'm pretty much done with like my presentation. Like I just wanna give you a chance to ask all the questions that you have. Any questions about either transitioning like to iOS development, or questions about my program, or questions about interviewing for iOS developer, whatever you feel like asking. So please ask me any questions that you like. And I see like people kind of joining in and out. So like first of all, I really appreciate everybody who is hanging out with me on my live stream. So like it means a lot to me. So I know like this Monday evening, and like y'all probably could have been doing like other things, but I appreciate you spending time with me. So if you have any questions, like please ask. And like I think it's a good program, honestly. Like I've been thinking about how can I contribute to the tech community, right? With my experience, and with my experience as an iOS developer, with my experience as a as a QA. So where could be one of my niches that I can help? And I think helping professionals to pivot to iOS development. This is really dope. And um, one of the reasons why I decided to create this program is because I walked that path myself, and I've been there before. And I like honestly, if I didn't get as creative as I did, I wouldn't be here today. So, and I'm glad I did, but I know a lot of people get discouraged. I know a lot of people get stuck on like so many things, and because it can be challenging. Like it can be challenging, even like hey, even when your first few months as an iOS developer, like I can be available to you as well, because you need that support, like because you're gonna mess up as a new iOS developer. You're gonna mess up, and it's more important for you to recognize your mistakes and go back and fix it and own it, rather than like just like keep going. And I've been there, I've done that. So, and I really would like to help as many people as possible. So let me know if you have any questions. So, again, like you can ask me questions in the chat. You can DM me like whatever you are watching. Like if you are on Facebook, you can send me a message. You can send me a message on LinkedIn. So if you're watching me from YouTube, you can get in touch with me on via my email, or like find me on LinkedIn and get in touch with me on LinkedIn as well. The same for Instagram. So if you're watching me on the Instagram, so you can absolutely get in touch with me there as well. Well, I hope you enjoy this live stream. I hope it was useful. So, and definitely, if you're watching on the replay, like feel free to ask me a question in the comment. I normally get to the comments really quickly as well. So I really appreciate everybody who visited my live stream today. And I think I'm going to wrap up for today. And I will see you later. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video or in the next live stream. Bye, y'all. See you later.